Welcome back. We now move on to our next presentation, which will be given by, which will look at defining and decoding transformation in the built environment. It will be given by Gerhard, expert partner, capital productivity at McKinsey & Company. He'll be joined by Leon de Kock, mega project manager, Xaro Resources. They will discuss the 5 practices in common that will lead to a successful digital transformation.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Very excited today to share with you our latest research on the new normal in project delivery. I've also invited Leon, one of the project controls and project manager we recently worked with here in South Africa, where we applied some of these digital tools in a project execution. So very much looking forward to the discussion. I think the reality was, even before COVID, there was a clear need for change in project delivery, with 90% of the leaders globally saying that the industry needs to change, and 80% believing that there's going to be a radical change within the next 20 years. Where we are today, there's clearly been an acceleration with at least 2/3 of these leaders saying that the change needs to be accelerated within the COVID constraints, and at least half of them saying that they have increased their investment in digitalization to overcome some of these challenges. What's driving this? So from a market perspective, the customer needs are clearly changing. The project complexity is increasing, while from a market rules or regulatory perspective, most projects get awarded based on price. On the industry side, the projects are very much set up and executed on a project basis in a very fragmented ecosystem with misaligned contractual structures, incentives, and also by insourcing labor as required through contractors and temporary staff. The outcome of this is not surprising. We've seen over the years, at best, a 1% improvement in capital productivity or construction productivity. Also seen very slow adoption of innovation technology in industry, and low profits, even with a stable growth in construction projects. And overall, 80% of the customers are not happy. So there's clearly a big need for change. Some of these new industry dynamics that will define the new operating model based on the research include a change in these demand factors, also some change in supply factors. For example, here in South Africa, the skill shortages is real and becoming a bigger challenge. Also change in regulatory requirements. This combined with industry disruptors like industrialization, or for example, like the modularization that John referred to, digitalization and new entrants or unicorns in the market will enable this disruption and transformation of the industry. We've also did a survey on all the digital solutions out there, and we literally surveyed 2,400 companies. And there's clear trends or constellations starting to evolve. One constellation is around the digital twinning environment and the value created from digital twinning. Second constellation is around this modernization, robotics, 3D printing, trying to create predictable work in a predictable environment. Then there's a third constellation around using big data or data science through advanced analytics, artificial intelligence, and a fourth constellation of solutions around the supply chain optimization and marketplace. So I'm sure most people on the call have been engaged with some of these digital solutions and thought, how do you actually bring this together? And for that reason, we thought it'd be good exercise to ask Leon to present how their project actually brought digital into their project execution.
Good afternoon, everybody. In terms of Xaro, Xaro is mainly our core operation is coal, but we are also in titanium, iron ore, zinc, and we are moving in the direction of being an energy company. On the next slide, you will see that we actually aiming to digitize from pit to port, from your geological data up to where you actually sends the product to the client. We want to digitize everything, and we do that with drones and virtual reality models, digital twinning, that we put all sorts of in terms of the Internet of Things, put sensors in place so that you can digitize it. On the next slide, you will actually see a little video that will just orientate you in terms of the project. It's a greenfields mine that we had to build from pit to a ramping platform, conveyors, silo, low gravity and high gravity plant to the export to local and international markets.
A coal mine construction project was required to supply 1 million tons by the year ending 2019 to ensure early return on investment. The pain points experienced on site at the start of the engagement were multiple plans on site and a commissioning schedule which did not allow for prioritization, contractors that were not following their own plans, resulting in projected delays of up to 6 months, no on-site collaboration and problem solving, resulting in a lost opportunity for productivity improvement and cross-pollination of ideas. To structure our approach, we created a systems view aligned to the commissioning sequence. This allowed the construction effort to be concentrated on critical activities. Weekly sprint reviews created alignment and allowed issues to be addressed in team problem-solving sessions. This way, we were able to celebrate our highs and resolve issues around our lows. We then transitioned from paper to digital. This greatly simplified stakeholder engagement and performance dialogues, with all construction and commissioning KPIs available on the go, driving fact-based conversations on and off-site. We pool-planned with the contractors foreman to ensure robust plans that considered all construction levels. The result was ambitious work plans driven by the front line. We had check-ins on site to create daily accountability and alignment. These allowed us to proactively identify and remove roadblocks to productivity. We then rolled out digital check-ins to reduce the standing time on site and improve daily reporting. The app deployed was also used to flag in-field issues and reduce response time. Slowly, on-site discussions evolved from finger-pointing sessions to constructive problem-solving. We rolled out a digital twin for critical areas. This became the single source of truth on productivity and progress, which greatly improved performance management and alignment on goals across all stakeholders. The digital twin allowed us to see exact deviations of the earthworks from the final design using the deviance heat map, quantify and track progress. Visualizing the remaining works in weekly planning sessions made the production targets much more tangible to contractors. The graphical representation of plan versus actual data, updated as regularly as the drone flights allow, became the single source of truth, making this particular contractor's paper reporting redundant. We identified and reduced waste associated with material handling. Handover delays were averted by creating accountability across interfaces. We identified motion waste on-site, enabling the contractor to free up equipment to be used on other critical areas. The supervisors across site created a learning group dedicated to sharing lessons learned, lean learnings, and building up problem-solving mindsets and capabilities. We identified and reduced waste associated with material handling. By embedding the lean construction principles, we accelerated the construction to meet construction requirements and achieve first call 6 months ahead of plan.
Yeah, so you could see it was a greenfields mine, and some of the contractors showed signs of running late, and there was significant value for us to actually accelerate the project in terms of income to the company. So we looked at the critical paths, and specifically the dam that you saw was the biggest storage dam, and we could track that very closely. We actually want to go into more detail on the digital control tower. You can just read there, and the digital measurements, and then the digital risk management as well that we implemented. On the next slide, you will see that there were 4 digital tools or 4 key areas that we introduced the digital tools. It was digital control tower, where the Power BI dashboards, we utilized them to actually take the existing lean construction dashboards, but it could be sent to mobile devices, so your sprint reviews could be done on site or remotely. To analyze data is normally a very manual process, but these dashboards actually provided instant views on the interpreted data. Then the task scheduling application, that was a very nice one. We tested the digital task manager tool, and it worked very well. As you could see on the video as well, the task could be pushed to the foreman, and they could in real time actually say what they do, what do they have problems with, and there was real time communication to each other or to the site manager, and then it resulted in minimal time that was spent to prepare the daily production updates. In terms of digital twin, with the drones, we could initiate automated progress measurements. As I said, the biggest water storage dam was the most significant risk on the critical path. But with the drone data that was sent to a platform in real time, we could see what was actually going on in less than 12 hours. And then on the advanced analytics, here we could really explore the use of advanced analytics for project risk identification. So we could use leading indicators, and it was a early warning system for overruns. So we looked at the correlation between specific actions and then the overruns, and then we created a model to determine the accuracy and the validity of the existing client's data, so that we could get to this early warning system. A very interesting thing that came out of this was emails. The moment that emails is sent before 7 o'clock in the morning, it actually triggered a warning system that this might be an activity that will overrun. So it worked very well for us, the whole digitization, and we could deliver the project 6 months ahead of schedule, and added value to Xaro.
Thank you, Leon, and thanks for sharing the case. I think this was just to give the group here a flavor of the potential of digital and how digital can really help to transform the industry. I think what's critical to highlight is this was very targeted for digital initiatives that was started literally a year before project completion, and the project team were able to pull back the project by 6 months. So massive impact considering that you have the time to completion of the project. I think the key success here was understanding where the value losses came from or where the high risk areas are, using very targeted tools to create transparency and to enable everybody in a project team with the same information in real time, but improve decision making, problem solving, and also helped at the end to do the project closeout. So this very exciting opportunity, and there's clear potential. You can imagine if the right digital tools are implemented from day one, how much value can be unlocked. What clearly stood out from the recent research then is that the industry will change, and there's basically 6 main disruptors that will force this change. One is increased digitalization and investment in technology. Second, key areas around the rebalancing of the supply chain, making the supply chain a lot more resilient and efficient. And then the third disruptor around the acceleration of consolidation and the increase in vertical integration. The first element is around this increase in offsite manufacturing with modernization, standardization, prefabrication in a controlled environment. And then the last element is this acceleration in demand for sustainability. There's increased pressure around sustainable solutions. It's also clear that the future project operating model will be completely different from what we have today. From a project-based setup where the whole end-to-end value chain and project lifecycle is set up for a specific project with very fragmented ecosystem, also a lot of construction on-site, bespoke, to a product-based setup where multiple projects feed into a new operating model. And within that operating model, there would be specific design components or library of components that can be reused, that gets manufactured in a controlled environment and then efficiently constructed on site. So it's very clear that there's big opportunity for change. The initial pioneers in some of these digital solutions are starting to unlock value, but a huge opportunity still to follow. What also stood out from the recent research was that the contractors actually will see the biggest change. And this was very interesting because we found with our clients here in South Africa that a lot of the change has to be driven by the client. And also the initial investment in that digital solutions have to come from the client. While actually the contractors will be mostly affected by this change. So thank you very much for the opportunity to share this latest research and also share the case example. Happy to take questions.
So Gerhard and Leon, are you still here? Yes. I noticed you were using quite a lot of software that really actually I haven't seen used that much in many other regions. So for instance, digital twins gets used quite a lot or talked about a lot, but we don't see it used very often at the moment. What drove you to really invest in and implement all of these monitoring tools as well? Because you said you were getting alerts. And what did you have to go through to make sure everybody knew how to use them properly?
Gerhard, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I can comment. I think, Rob, the reality is often when we get involved with projects, the quality of the data is always a challenge, like of getting real-time measurement from site. And there's always a disagreement between subcontractors, contractors, and client about what's a true status. And the only way to overcome that is to get real-time data. And we've looked at various digital solutions. I think part of the success was to get a solution that have conversion very quickly. So literally the drone fly for one day, the next day you had the output measurements. The second key success criteria was to get everybody access to the same solution. And it was a cloud-based solution. So everybody, including contractors, subcontractors, commercial people, construction people, had full access. And it became part of the way people work and problem solve on site, where for productivity meetings, the digital twin was used. When there was a query on measurements or problem solving on how to solve a specific construction challenge on site, the digital twin was pulled up. Even the commercial teams started to use the digital twin when there was a dispute on a claim. So I think creating that transparency, getting the data real time, and making it accessible to everybody was a key unlock. I don't know, Leon, anything you would like to add on it?
Yeah, I want to add. I think of revenue that we could actually gain. So that was the biggest driver. But what we've learned in this whole process, the digital twin gives you access to actually create this virtual reality environment. And the virtual reality is date stamped, and you can look at last week against this week, or you can look at today against your design model for quality purposes. And then in the end, the contractor doesn't have something or a foot to stand on, and they can't take chances. We had a claim rate on the project of 0.04%.
That's very low.
Extremely small. It's extremely small. So the money that we invested in the digital twin environment and the platform was really worth it, money-wise.
And did you link that with a BIM, an advanced BIM model?
Yes.
Okay. So you were using what, time scheduling and budgeting within BIM as well to manage all of this?
Yes, we did.
Okay, interesting. And one we're going to move on in a moment, but one very final question. The drones that you were talking about. Now, I know that drone footage can create huge data files. And one of the comments I've had in the past from people is it took ages to convert and be able to use this. How have you managed that? Are you getting very big data files, or have you found a way of compressing them?
No, not really. We actually uploaded it to a platform to a company in another country, but the uploading was 4 to 7 hours. But we used quite a hefty computer, and we actually changed it during the project when we accelerated. So it was uploaded. Well, I think I can say that to a company in Canada, and the platform was actually situated there. So the photogrammetry was converted to this virtual reality environment, and they've got fast servers. So front end was just the web view, and it worked extremely well.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, but it took about 3 to 7 hours to actually upload it.
Okay.
Robert, we definitely, when we looked at other solutions, that was part of a challenge, that you needed such powerful computers to actually use the output. With this combination of using third-party cloud-based solutions, we could make it accessible to everybody. You could run it on any computer. And I think that was a huge unlock. And the other key point that Leon mentioned, like creating a history, because it was all date stamped, so twice a week you had true measurement across site. So there was no, there was only one source of truth at the end.
And of course, all your data was in a single place, I take it. It was easy to access. Everybody knew what the data was, and it was managed properly. Because again, that's another big issue that has to be.
Yeah, it was fantastic between the different dates, or you could toggle between different layers and so on. Everything was actually on the portal.
Okay, wonderful. Gentlemen, thank you. That was really interesting, a really interesting presentation. So thank you very much for that.